This episode is sponsored by Oribi. Hey guys, I've got a quick question for you. How many of you are tired of using Google Analytics? I bet quite a few of you are raising your hands right now. Understanding where and why you lose site visitors before they convert is hard. With Google Analytics, you not only have to get your developers involved with coding events, but you also have to struggle through endless piles of data just to figure out what's causing your leads to drop out. Seriously, it's kind of a nightmare. Well, you'll be excited to hear that there's now a better way to analyze your website and get actionable insights. Meet Oribi. Oribi is a unique marketing analytics tool that captures all the events visitors perform on your website without using any code. Oribi enables you to analyze visitor behavior patterns, build smart funnels, and get tons of insights so you always know what your next step is. Finally, you'll be able to understand your visitors and know what to change in order to convert more. No more blind spots. To start your free trial, visit oribi.io/SaaSdistrict or use the coupon code SaaSdistrict and get a free 14-day trial today. Hello, everyone. This is your host, Akil Jabbar, and welcome back to another episode of SaaS District. In today's episode, we'll be talking about why is it so difficult to sell your SaaS product through agency partners. Today, we have our guest and expert, Sunir Shah, joining us. Sunir is a marketer, developer, and a startup guy. He's the founder of AppBind, a SaaS subscriptions management tool for resellers and agencies. AppBind lets you subscribe to software and ads for clients without using your own credit card, where this cloud-based billing solution enables trustful communication between agencies and the clients, which we'll talk about today. So welcome, Sunir. Super excited to have you on the SaaS District show today.
Thank you for having me. Yeah, I'm a marketer. I'm an engineer. You didn't mention the other thing I put in my profile, which is I'm a bad dancer. Really key.
You're a bad dancer. That's the most important part here.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm also an engineer, so that's cool. I guess we got two engineers on the call, marketers now, and also working on SaaS.
I ended up in marketing through a series of unfortunate life decisions, as I like to say. How did you end up in marketing as an engineer?
Probably the same thing, yeah.
Yeah, the parties are better.
The parties are better. Definitely, I agree. The engineering parties are pretty lame, I agree.
Terrible at Quake, and then they threw me out. Anyway, that's true.
So love to hear. I mean, we'll see your dance skills, save it for the end for people who stick to the end. But for people who want to know more about AppBind, what are you trying to solve here? Some billing challenges that partners face. And then you're also obviously combining multiple SaaS products into a bundle. If I'm trying to sell it as a reseller, tell us more how that works.
Yeah, let's just focus. There's two sides, right? So let's just focus on the part closer to the customer. So what does the customer want? They hire a contractor, like a marketing agency or an IT consultant or an accountant, to just take care of some business problem. And if it was a plumber, they would never send you to the hardware store to buy your own pipes, check valves or pumps. If your basement's flooded, that would make no sense. You would fire that plumber. But what's happening in the age of subscriptions? All these agencies have to bother and burden their clients with all setting up their own subscriptions, which is time consuming, confusing, stressful for the client who already doesn't have time or expertise. That's why they hired you. AppBind allows you to take care of your client without getting yourself stuck in the middle of the subscription. We create a shared email and shared virtual credit card that allows you to sign up on behalf of a client, forward all the emails and the credit card charges and the expenses directly to your client. It allows you to manage it on their behalf and just take care of the project and be a really good contractor for them. And from the SaaS point of view, looking at the other side of the table, a lot of these SaaS companies have been struggling. Why is it so hard to sell SaaS through agency partners? Is they just don't have a way to bring your product to the client without themselves taking on a ton of risk, which they can't afford to have. And we very cleanly solve that problem, with a drop-in solution. So, it makes everyone's lives a lot better and allows more SaaS to go to more small businesses, medium-sized businesses. We just need contractors to help them get going. That's what we do.
Yeah. Interesting. I mean, if I'm an agency owner, I'm a consultant, I'm working with multiple clients, right? And typically the way I've done it is, I go to the SaaS founder and say, hey, look, we've got this solution, whatever the CRM, let's move over here. Here's the link, sign up. And I kind of wait, hey, can you give me login, give me access, give it to the team. And then you get them to kind of do it. And then maybe you keep track of everything in a spreadsheet or somewhere for people to use, right? So rather than asking them to sign up directly, or whether it's a SaaS subscription or a vendor, what's the efficiency here? How are you saving them time? And why should I consider this versus, the way I'm doing it previously?
Well, like, what is the solution? So when I was at FreshBooks, I started the marketing team there, and then the partnership team. I spent like $400,000, I think, trying to build a reseller experience. So what we call the reseller experience, and it had two problems. One, first, reselling is not a concept that agencies even like. That's just something we should talk about. Why is it so hard to sell SaaS through agency partners? It's like they don't sell SaaS. So, what are they selling? We can talk about that. We should talk about that. But really, like, realistically, these companies, these service companies, just need the materials to deliver the solution. And if it was a box of software, they go down to Staples and buy, QuickBooks or FileMaker Pro or whatever it was in the day. You can't just buy a subscription because the data belongs to the customer. So how do I create accounts that I manage? But the customer owns and controls, and you can't pay for it either because then you're stuck in the middle of the billing. The subscriptions in your credit card, you got to keep track of that, and you're liable, if the customer fades out on you for that financial risk, which is too much for you. And there are millions of terrible solutions. Mostly, it's referrals. You get your clients to deal with it directly. That's also super risky because your clients first are annoyed. They're going to get all annoyed. You just can't ask the client to deal with it. It's like you only get like two cracks of the piñata before they just get mad at you and they'll fire you, right? And they'll have to staff up internally eventually and get rid of you that way to manage the tech stack. But also the vendors will start talking to your clients, and that's always chaos. What are you left with? So, people have the workaround where they put it on their credit card and they have a spreadsheet or they use LastPass. The problem with that is you're still stuck. You have to be able to transfer the subscriptions. And this is what I realized we needed to solve. So AppBind, like I said, what we do, what's a subscription? The email you sign up with and the credit card you pay with. Never once, ever, never as an agency should you ever use your own email and credit card in a client's subscription. And no SaaS vendors do ask, like they think the agency is the customer. The agency is not the customer. It's like they're not gifting the subscription to the client. Like how are they paying for that? A bake sale? Like I don't understand what these SaaS companies are thinking about. The client's paying them. It belongs to them. So like the agency, they shouldn't be putting their email and credit card in. No one should be asking them to putting their own credit card in. So what we do is we create a shared email address that forwards emails to you as an agency so you can manage the account, sign up emails, product alerts. You're managing the account. You're the person taking care of it for the client. Also forwards all these administration emails to the client so they always have ownership. That's one. And number two, we create a virtual credit card that, you can put it into you use to pay for the SaaS company, it's just a credit card, just throw it in the billing form. But key for this kind of virtual card is that it charges your customer instead of you, because you would send the client, a bill. We create a subscription order, a purchase order. They put their payment method in, and then you can buy whatever subscriptions on the project you need. Not just one, but you're going to use multiple things. So you might have MailChimp, you might have Facebook ads, you might have Unbounce. You'll be building a system. You are free to build an entire, say, marketing funnel out for them through all these products. On the same order, and the client only has to put the credit card in once, and then all these virtual cards and emails allow you to manage all these subscriptions. And the key thing is at the end, these things belong to the client. You have to transfer the subscriptions to them. With AppBind, it's simple. You just click transfer, and away they go. Projects come and go, but client referrals are forever. Anxious clients are always worried about their data at the end of the project, but you're like, no, everything belongs to you. Like I said. Everything's organized in one place. Everything's in your control. Everything I build for you, you own. Here it is. Click, whoomp. Here's the whole system. And the client's like, "Wow, that was really professional." Yeah, I'm really professional. I'm going to keep referring clients to you in the future, and that's great. And meanwhile, you don't want to spend a day, dealing with a client that's leaving, updating their billing. You're like, "Thank you, goodbye." I have other clients to go. Click, goodbye, bye, and you can move on with your life as an agency without feeling the pinch that you might have subscriptions hitting your credit card in the future. And it's like all these little things that actually have stopped people from managing technology for clients, which is the loss of the opportunity for the agencies.
No, this is really helpful. I mean, I could see I've worked with some SaaS companies where we have all these preferred vendors. We're going to work with them, and then I'm going to send you here's an invoice from them, subscription here, subscription there, and then you just kind of wait, and they're kind of slow to pay. One thing you mentioned though is that how do you set the restrictions there, right? If you're like, okay, here's the virtual credit card, go ahead and add it to the AppBind, and then I go click, and add it. and then like, hold on, I didn't agree to this. Is there some kind of control there for?
Yeah, no. It has to be authorized. So, I mean, you're acting as as the client when you're doing the purchasing. Yeah. So you need authorization because you're signing with your name. So this is why we create something called a subscription order, like a purchase order, but it handles the ongoing recurring charges. So you list out, it's like anything. You go to an auto mechanic, they're going to tell you on the quote what the parts are going to be before they do it, right? Or you're going to give them authorization to fix this problem. You're going to like agree to something. So with AppBind, we send, the set of subscriptions you want to subscribe to, or if you want, the blanket authorization to go do whatever for the project, for the client, you can ask for that. They agree. And then you set a budget for the project with AppBind. So, it works like you ever been to Starbucks or been on a subway that tap card? It's just like it's a top up budget. So once it blows a threshold, they'll re-up to whatever balance you want to set. So there's always money floating around. That money belongs to the client. We're holding it in trust. It's refundable to them, but it allows them to control how much money is outstanding for you to go and make the purchases. And then you, of course, know there's money available to run the expenses. So you're not putting your own money at risk. And you can set a monthly limit as well. So just like Facebook ads or whatever. So the client knows that no matter what, there's a break on how much money they're going to spend with you before you, intervene and deal with it. So everything's about trust and transparency and authorization. But the point is that there's now a way to have that conversation in a systematic way and the mechanic to then manage how the money's managed. And then, of course, the ownership of the subscriptions are managed. There was nothing like this. And the closest thing like it was each SaaS company would just build their own little siloed reseller portal, but it doesn't help you with your accounting, right? It doesn't help you with the other products you need. And we needed a tool for the agencies to manage the software vendors rather than the software vendors managing the agencies. And that was the thing I learned when I was at FreshBooks is no matter what you do at the SaaS company, you can't solve this problem for your channel partners. You just can't.
So I want to use an example there. So I mean, I agree with that generally let's use like web hosting, right? So that's a simple one. Maybe people can understand. They have a reseller program. There's a benefit there. You said, okay, agency shouldn't be selling the product, but okay, well, I always like using this hosting, what it's called Cloudways. I love Cloudways. I want to set up with the reseller program. I'm always going to use this platform because I trust it and I can resell it for X dollars. Even though you said maybe there's an issue there, we can talk about why we shouldn't be selling it. And there's also the part of like, there's that risk of issue of like, okay, the client doesn't pay me. I kind of have some control here, right? I think that's another thing people say like, I create all the website, I design and they decide not to pay or they disappear. Okay, I have control over the domain. So maybe just talk about that kind of issue there.
Yeah, this is actually a very interesting part of the story. And as the years will go forward, it will get tighter for the agencies in this model. So it is happening and we support it in AppBind. So with Cloudways, like they will offer you a discounted subscription and you are effectively a landlord and you have tenants, which is your clients. When you're a landlord, you are the building. You are representing to the client that you are Cloudways. You are the software company. So you have 100% of the data liability. So unless Cloudways indemnifies you, which no matter what they do, they can't. You are the software company to the client, and that is what you are doing. And I just don't think that is going to work in the future because you actually have no control over the servers. Anyway, you can do that. The issues here with the reseller model they're discounting the subscription to you. So you have to retail the subscription to the client. So you have to handle the invoicing, which means every month, because it changes price, Cloudways, because it's bandwidth and storage, right? So it's hosting. It changes price every month. You're going to have to handle the bookkeeping on that. With AppBind, you can just say, I have a 50% discount for Cloudways, and we will, if you get charged $50, we'll show the client $100. You don't have to think about it. And if it goes up to $60 the next month, we'll automatically change it to $120. The client will do that for you, so you don't have to think about it. And then if you want to offer a discount from the margin there, you can also put in, offer them a 20% discount in AppBind, and then, the discount comes off the retail price automatically. You don't have to think about it. We'll automatically handle that. The issue, though, comes when they're offboarding. How do you actually transfer a subscription? And they have the right as the client to ask for it. And so each of those SaaS vendors has to offer account transfer, which most of them don't really. Some of them do, but you have to be careful, right? Because technically, under the rules, I mean, we're in Canada, right? So you and I are in Canada. We have a privacy law, like a GDPR, PIPEDA. Clients have the right to see their entire billing history, so they can see your partner discount on the subscription. So, I know this happens and we will support it from the agency's point of view. If I was a SaaS vendor, I was giving you advice, don't do this. Don't set up your agency partners as software companies. They're not you. They're really working for the client. They're there to manage the subscription. And if you're going to give them a margin, don't put the margin on the customer bill, because the customers have the right now. They have a legal right to see their entire billing history, so they can see your commercial terms to your partners. That's inappropriate to mix the commercial relationships between the client, the customer, and the partner. Provide the margin through a rebate on the back end, like a referral commission or a resale commission on the back end. And this is, what Microsoft does. That's the correct way to do it. And that's what AppBind will support, is that everything always belongs to the customer, always. And you as the agency are managing it for the customer. You still have that power of, like, the customer is not going to leave you, because managing the site, and plus everything that goes along with the system is quite complicated, right? And so as long as you're providing the system, the client's going to stick with you. Right? You're not holding them hostage on the particular domain. You're holding them hostage because they don't have any staff. Right?
Yeah.
And that's the real value you should be providing. And actually what we found on AppBind is that the agencies are using AppBind. Some of them, have this attitude. Like, we want to own the software. I'm like, well, then you can, but then you have to be, you're going to have to represent all that SOC 2 compliance stuff that the software vendors have. Like, you can't do that. You're not set up for it. Right. But if you take this other model, what we have found, and it's true, it was like the clients, because of that, they start trusting you. We create a system of trust. The clients allow you to start building more and more and more for them, that the actually scope of the project start expanding. Right. And then therefore service revenue expands. And the more you're doing for the clients, right, the less they're going to get rid of you, because you are, you're their guy or gal or whatever who's taking care of marketing or development. You're the person. They're just going to rely on you now. And they're not going to get rid of you if you're delivering increasing value. And in fact, you can expand your value.
100%.
But if you hold them hostage, they're not going to give you anything more because they can't trust you. That's really and we found that consistently. Like, you'd be surprised that people's service revenue starts expanding on AppBind because they can do a lot more.
Yeah, one thing. So I do like the virtual credit cards. Maybe if you can chat a little bit more, how that works. I'm trying to understand it a little better in my mind. But I know they're becoming obviously more popular on the internet and kind of being commercialized. The issue is I can see a lot of purchase orders. Invoices are traditionally paid. I could see $20,000 invoice. I don't know if they want to put it on the credit card. They're gonna say, let's do wire transfer, e-transfer, or even PayPal. Do you guys work with that, or is this only credit card and generally some kind of subscription here?
Well, virtual payment methods, just to say in general, there will be virtual bank accounts and virtual ACH. That is relatively delayed because of the pandemic, but it will be here eventually. Not just for us. I mean, in the industry, they're just very slow in the United States.
Yeah.
In Europe, they have virtual bank accounts, but not in the United States. But the point of virtualization is this. When you have one credit card or one bank account covering your entire operational stack, you still have a single point of failure. Right. Which is your one payment method. And how many times is your credit card stolen, expired, canceled? How many times do you have staff that turn over, that their card has to be changed? This is not, good business management to have one payment method being the center of all your subscriptions. And so this is why the value of virtual cards and eventually virtual bank accounts to pay for subscriptions makes sense. Also, it's defense against, you're basically handing direct access to your bank account to a vendor when you give them a credit card. I mean, that's the problem with stolen cards from vendors. And, so when you give them a unique virtual card, if people don't know what a virtual credit card is at this point, what it is, it's a new credit card number that we generate usually one time per transaction or one time per person, so that it's separate from your core bank account. It just runs in front, like a virtual phone number. So this is
dynamic. Is it tied to your original credit card? Like you have to put in their credit card, or is it tied to the bank account and then the front end number just changes?
Well, the way AppBind works is you put in a bank account or credit card into one side of the system to fund AppBind. You create a wallet and a balance, and then from there we issue the credit card, virtual cards. Obviously, bank accounts are cheaper than credit cards to fund it, but we'll take either.
Okay, so you could do, the wire transfer situation could be handled with directly, funding it through the bank account. So that makes sense.
Yeah, you could fund AppBind through wire, ACH, or credit card, and then you can issue virtual cards to pay for vendors from there. But so the advantage of each card is that every single transaction, every single relationship, every single contract can have its own credit card number with its own special terms on it. Like, so for instance, if you can put spending limits on, you can put in the agency relationship, you want to be doing markups like 25% markup on the ad spend, you can put that in AppBind. And then of course you can turn them off individually. So, and if they're stolen, it only affects that one subscription. And it's all sorts of controls you can do. And this just simply makes sense that if the subscription vendors can have one subscription record per customer, a customer should have one payment method per vendor, and so that both sides control that relationship and secure it. And that's why they're so popular. And the advantage of AppBind compared to other virtual card platforms is in this particularly interesting relationship where I'm a service company and I have to buy something for a client. I need to control the virtual card. So I need to issue a virtual card funded by somebody else, my client. And that's what we're offering. And there's nothing like that, and so, and our cards are transferable from one party to another, and they handle all the markups, and they allow, the vendors to pay you commissions on them as well, and all sorts of fun things, because we represent the whole relationship.
So let's kind of switch gears, moving over to the SaaS founder role. You also have a system on the back where I can become a vendor. If I'm looking to become a vendor with my SaaS product, what can I expect? If I want to come in and start working with AppBind, what can I expect for my business? And then secondly, how do you handle the onboarding and user experience for the back end? So what I mean is, okay, I sign up for this SaaS platform. Generally, the end user, like the SaaS founder, is going to get all these communication, how it works, onboarding. They can go in and log in. I know sometimes the agency is probably going to handle that, but they probably still want to know what's going on at that first stage, especially if it's a new tool they've never used before. How do you handle that part?
Okay, well, for the SaaS vendors, so the issue, I should answer the question: why is it so hard to sell SaaS or agency partners? Okay, so that's where SaaS companies come from. That's their angle they're attacking from. The answer is that the agency partners don't sell SaaS. Like, that's the answer. I was like, but that's what we want. And I'm like, well, they don't do it. And if you actually look at I don't know if it's on Web Archive, but I was in the Wayback Machine. But the original headline on AppBind, I knew it was wrong, but our original headline was targeting the agency owners was buy software and sell it to your customers. Our clients, which I knew was wrong. Mm-hmm. And I've worked at SaaS companies. I've been a consultant. I've been a client, but this was I was living in SaaS land for so long. And I had this message, this is what we all talk about. I run the trade association of all the SaaS partnership people, the cloud software associations, 4,000 SaaS partnership executives. And this is all we're talking about all day long. We just want to drive more sales for partners. We want sales, and we call them resellers as if that's their entire purpose in life. Like, your entire purpose is to sell my software. I'm like, no. The agency owner is like, no, my entire purpose is to serve my clients. And this is why, and this is the big lesson. I actually ended up, remember cocktail parties? Remember those before the pandemic where you actually met in person?
Sure.
I don't remember what they're like. I have a memory of one. Anyway, so I was running a cocktail party at Dreamforce, and I decided, okay, I need to know. So I it might have been inappropriate. I kind of cornered them with my friends. I'd like your drink. Help me out. Tell me what the answer is. Anyway, I asked my agency, just lay it on me. Like, don't be my friend. I know we're friends. So just tell me why this is the stupidest message ever. And they said, I don't sell software to my clients. Okay, yeah, I knew that. And I don't want to get stuck in the middle of billing. Okay, that answered a lot of questions. Mm-hmm. And really is wwhat is the problem? Why is this not happening? It's listen, it takes too much time and it's too much of a hassle, but what do you need to do? I just need to take care of my clients. That's all they want me to do. I just need to take care of them, and how do you grow your business? I need to sell them more services.
Exactly.
Okay. So you put that back together. It's not agency partners are selling your software. What they are doing is serving the client, and they need your software to deliver the answer. And the problem is it's too damn hard, right? Because of all the problems we talked about. So here's what AppBind does if we're onboarding a new SaaS company. First, like I say, the great thing about AppBind, it does not require any changes whatsoever. We already have like 300 SaaS companies managed through AppBind, like already easily. And none of them had to even know that was happening because it's done by the agencies. So what AppBind offers the SaaS companies is two things. One, if you want to offer them margins, which you should, to incentivize them, then you can, because we'll handle the commission through a rebate program because we can see all the money across the credit card. No referrals. Everyone hates referrals, right? There's no more channel conflict between inside sales and your partners because the agency's card is on file. It's clearly their subscription that they're managing. So it's easy to manage now the commissions. And then second, we give you great reporting. And third, we give your partners a really simple way to register in your partner program in a way that makes sense. It's not that they're going to, get to talk. Like no agency owner really wants to talk to you unless you're going to deliver them a client. They don't want to be on a phone. They don't have time to be on a phone with you. What they want is the subscription for their client. We give you a drop-in order form, a purchase order form, a subscription order, where they can, send. You can just throw it. It's just a landing page. It's so simple. You just give this to your partners. And then they can ask the client to put the credit card in or whatever. And then the partner can go ahead and manage you as a vendor. They can go and manage the purchase. And it just drops right into the flow. But this registers the partner in your partner program. So something you can see them, you can see what's going on with their customers. We also show you an anonymized report of all the other products that are being bought and sold in your channel. So you know who's good for co-marketing and cross-selling across your tech stack, your tech partners. We give you all these things, but the key is we align your partner program to what a solution agency needs, which is I just need this thing off the shelf so I can give it to my clients. Please make this simple for me. And that is transformatively different. And we saw that activation rates, approach 50%, which is uncommon. Usually because everything's referrals, it's like 10, 15% is the common activation rate of partners. But with AppBind, we saw 50% activations because it's really, if you think about it, I like this product. I need it for my client. How do I get it? Here's how you get it. Okay, thank you. Goodbye. It's like they're just going to buy it. So argument, right? With referrals, like, oh God, I have to get my client involved in the conversation with you. Well, I don't know if I want to risk that because, that would piss off my client. And I don't really know you and I don't really want them talking to you. So I guess I'm not going to make it happen. Sorry. Yeah, and that's the big difference. You give the agencies the control to just make the purchase, they're going to make it happen because the client doesn't care. But if you make the client care, they're going to have a good chance of getting a no. I mean, that's the difference. And so what's the onboarding process for SaaS? It's like, give me a logo, connect your bank account to the commissions. We'll configure it. And I'll give you the landing page and throw it in your email communication, salute and you're done. And then it's really more about how to communicate to the agencies from there on. Like talk about, we support you. Talk about how you can trust us. Talk about how we're not going to interfere with your customers. Talk about how you can build solutions. The commissions don't actually matter, but they're important as a way of investing back in the agency who's invested time in you because they have to train staff. You pay commissions to pay back the time they've invested in you, right? They sell time.
That's fair. That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't give money to buy bags of clients from the agency because the clients can see those landing pages too, and they're like, "Did you just sell me out?" They're gonna get fired. The agency, right? You can't have messaging like that.
That's right.
So we spend a lot of time with that.
Yeah. Why are you referring this product, right? Because you're getting 50% check from it. Yeah. But that makes sense. I mean, your initial message is you think agencies are there's let's make extra money by selling SaaS, but yeah, I mean the amount, the dollar amount for the amount of work is just not worth it versus the actual service. Right? It's like, like you said, let's focus on the services, deliver good work, and that's just a bit on the back end, and this is just making our lives easier at this point, right?
We should talk about how agencies do make more money. I mean, it's not by selling the product. Like plumber doesn't make money by selling you a pipe, right?
Exactly.
Sure. Right? What they need, like what you do is you're selling time and expertise. So there's two things that software gives you, right? You got to think about it. You're selling time and expertise. That creates expertise creates value, and time is the commodity that you're selling to make, which the dollars are priced against. So number one, obviously you can save time. If you bring better technology into the project, you're spending less time per client, right, to deliver the same value, right? So immediately you can do more clients. So your bandwidth increases. right? And also you can bring in more labor. So you hire more people, you can get more clients. It's key to scaling is bringing more technology, right? So that's number one. But also expertise is the other thing you're selling. You can't actually sell high value services if you're just doing everything by hand. You need technology, right, to deliver higher value stuff. I mean, look at all this AI copywriting tools out there. It's cool, right? It can give you a lot of power, but if you can't bring it into a client, you write everything by hand, like in the 19th century. Like, what are you talking about? The more technology you bring to bear, like or SEO software. The more if you bring SEO software to a client projects, then you can do SEO work and get those retainers, right? So you need to have the power to bring in whatever tools are necessary to deliver the end result, in marketing more clients. More, like the client wants more customers, more revenue. You need whatever it takes to deliver more revenue. If you want to go to TikTok ads, you need something to generate the TikTok ads, make the videos, track them. You need whatever tool allows you to do that, right? Like you can't turn. Like, why would you turn down a client who needs a TikTok ad campaign? Because you're afraid of bringing in the technology, right? It doesn't make any sense. And so that's where software helps you grow your revenue. It saves you time and gives you higher power results. And the better results are, the more you can charge. It's not that complicated, right?
A quick note from our sponsors today, and we'll be right back. This episode is sponsored by Contentify.co, a premium podcast editing and repurposing agency for busy content creators just like you. Are you spending too much time editing your podcast and end up with no time to stay on top of also publishing, sharing, reaching new listeners, while also staying ahead of the latest podcasting trends? Don't worry, Contentify has you covered. You no longer need to worry about spending hours editing and repurposing anymore. Just record your content and they handle the rest. Contentify is an end-to-end podcast editing and repurposing agency to help you grow your podcast by editing and repurposing quickly, easily, and reliably to share all over your social networks. And if you haven't even noticed, I also use them for the SaaS District podcast. So join other busy content creators just like you and me and start saving time and money while you grow your podcast show. Visit Contentify.co to learn more today. A random stat or data. Do you know how many pieces of software does a typical agency use? Like, do you track that? Like, is it 10? Is it 20? I can imagine it's quite a bit when they're working with clients.
Yeah, it's so interesting. So at the outset, there are like 3 stages of agencies adopting technology in their practice that I've noticed. One is for instance, I'm just talking about marketing agencies for now, but it's the same with developers. It's going to be it's going to be like 2 at the beginning if you're doing nothing. If you're just labor, if you're just like a hamster on a wheel doing labor on every client, it'd be like Facebook ads or HubSpot on one side or AWS or DigitalOcean or something, right, on the dev side, or it's accountant, just QuickBooks and Xero. That's it. So all you're doing is you're the hamster on the wheel. The wheel is like Facebook ads or whatever, and you're just labor. You're not doing anything. The second level is when you're branching out. Like, so you want to do ads plus landing pages and email capture or HubSpot plus video. You start bringing in some other tools. People kind of cap out around 5 because you find that clients will not put up with it. Because you're making the client still make their own purchases, right? Right. Clients will not put up with more than 5. And then they're going to realize that you are not the person who can take care of this problem for them. They will hire internally and they will fire you. That will happen 100% of the time. Like, the more you get the clients to manage their own stack, the more they will have to have internal staff. And the more they have internal staff, someone once told me, who do you think I saw at the Christmas party? These whiz kids from Manhattan or my college kids that I had just hired because I couldn't handle with these whiz kids. The college kids? Yeah. So who do you think I fired? The whiz kids? Who do you think was smarter? Your kids? No, the whiz kids from Manhattan are obviously better, but they didn't do anything as far as he was concerned. He was 1,000 years old. But, it was like, if the more you make the client do the work, the more they're going to have to staff up. And the other thing is, what were we talking about? Like, why bring in the software? What are you getting out of it? It's how many pieces of software, the more you create the permission for the clients to then trust you to manage like the first 5 pieces of software, what happens is you end up in a dynamic with the client where they know you can just take care of it for them. So then, as you're spending, because you're the expert, you're probably spending all day long reading about marketing or dev or whatever. Well, this is a new tool that came out, like Jarvis. Jarvis AI, a great tool, right? Yeah. So I want to use this. So like clients, like I don't know what you're talking about because I don't know anything about what you do for a living. No, I make chocolate for a living. You use Jarvis. I don't know what that is. Sure, it sounds like from the Avengers. Like, yeah, don't worry, I'll take care of it for you, right? And then you're free to bring in more and more technology. And what we found is it goes from 5 to like 15, like pretty quickly. And then suddenly you're selling. You started off with social media management, and then you're doing copywriting, and then you're doing advertising, and then you're doing email marketing. You can start selling more and more and more things because you have the freedom and the trust and the power to go ahead and build that client. And that's
how you communicate it, right? So, I mean, you could say, okay, look, we got this, we want to start, building out more content for you. I guess that's the first message. We found a way to be more efficient, and rather than producing X, we can now produce Y volume. And here's a tool that I think you should look at because if we use it, we're going to exponentially grow and, have more volume for you. Hey, do you send them over and say, hey, here's Jarvis, this is the cost. Do you want us to start using it? And this is what we expect, or how would you handle that?
Well, what is the reality of a client? Every client is they only hire you because they're freaking out. That's the 100% reason, right? They have to, because they would go to internal staff. Like they would never hire someone outside the organization unless their anxiety had reached a level where they just can't take it anymore, and they're willing to go, sorry, staff, need someone from outside. We're going to hire this person. And it's kind of an insult to staff, right? That you can't handle it. It is. It's really a big deal to go to a contractor. So the anxiety has to be really high. And the worst, I learned this when I was consulting. The only thing you're selling to the client, no matter what kind of contractor you are, whether you're a marketing agency or a dev agency or an accountant or a nail salon or a physician, it's the same thing. It's always the same thing. I want to bring you back into control of your life and make you feel calm again. So, a marketing agency is bringing the revenue under control. A developing agency is bringing the product under control. A nail salon might be bringing the bride's feelings under control before she goes to her wedding, right? It's the same idea. You're basically selling calm and control, and that's worth a lot of money to people, right? And so if you increase their anxiety and fear and risk, they're going to fire you because you just broke the promise, right? And so...
Right.
What are you selling to someone? It's like, well, I want to bring Jarvis in. They don't care about Jarvis. What do they care about? More customers. And you say, well, this will bring in more customers. And if you got the relationship where they trust you to take care of the more customer problem, the revenue problem, like, okay, you say we need Jarvis. Sure. I don't know. How much does it cost? Okay. Can you take care of it for me? Yeah. And can you do it yesterday? Yeah. I'll invite a time machine. I'll go back in time. I'll take care of it. No problem. Good. I'm freaking out now. Yeah, we know. We're bringing it under control. We're managing your client revenue. And honestly, if you can continue delivering the promise, I'll take care of it, meaning whatever is freaking them out for them. Think about how much space you have to grow with that client and how much they're going to love you and never get rid of you and how much your value will increase. Right? That is the difference between just being inside Facebook ads. You're replaceable if you're the hamster in the wheel. Right? The wheel is the important part. Actually, one agency said this to me, and I like this. Like he was talking, it was HubSpot agency, and they were saying, so what do I own? What do I own as an agency? I know you have your agency, you have your staff, your brand, your content, your podcast. It's like, no, none of that matters. It's only what gives me money every month. Every month I have to start the business again. What do you mean? Well, I have to find a whole bunch of new clients. Why? Because the clients only stick with me. I do the implementation setup and onboarding, and then I'm done. I've got nothing to do. I'm just the sprinkles selling the donut. What's the donut then? HubSpot. HubSpot makes all the money. I'm convincing the client to buy HubSpot. I'm just sprinkles. What do I own? It's like, oh, okay, interesting. But if you owned your expertise, you would own the technology it meant to build up the system. You don't have to write a line of code, but that whole system you're putting together of all the different products and the result, you have to own that and take responsibility for that, and say to the client, yes, you can come to me. I'll take care of it for you. I'll own this problem. You own something, right? That is substantively yours. And then suddenly retainers go for 3 years, value goes up, client happiness goes through the roof. It is a big difference when you can say, yes, I'll take care of it for you, from, no, can you take care of it for yourself? That's a huge change in the conversation.
Nice. So you just you're the magic sprinkler who keeps sprinkling on the donut until you have that perfect donut, right? So you got to keep it nice.
Like you want to be the substance. You don't want to be just here today, gone tomorrow. You don't want to just be the person doing installs, right? You want to be doing managed services. And how many agencies are just like running around inside HubSpot or Facebook ads without doing anything more? Like, these are good products, HubSpot and Facebook, great, or Google Ads, whatever. These are all good products. Or if you're a developer just living inside AWS, they're great platforms. I'm not saying anything wrong with them, but for you as a service company, what are you building on top of that is more interesting, and that's how you scale. You need to have something that you own.
Right. Last question, Sunir, and I want to kind of move on the personal side. So you mentioned here, about integrating SaaS channels or SaaS partners. Any best practices you can recommend, for SaaS founders who are building this into their journey and maybe looking to start? How do they get started? Keep it simple, and then how to build it also for scale in the future.
Yeah. Okay. So if we're just talking about service companies for now, I'm going to talk about tech partners a different day. And if anyone's interested in partnerships, the first thing you should do is join the Cloud Software Association. So cloudsoftwareassociation.com. It's free. You should buy drinks occasionally. That's our only request, but it's where all the partnership people hang out because we needed that. And so it's an instant network to 4,000 plus SaaS partnership people across every company and industry. So that's the first thing you should do. But more pragmatically, beyond that, how do you actually identify partners? The first thing you should realize is most SaaS companies, especially in the small and medium tiers segments, your channel is actually the shadow channel, because surprisingly, your partners, like I said, do not want to talk to you because they don't have time. They sell time for a living. Getting on a phone call with you is not helping them unless it helps the client. So most will just self-serve through the sign-up process. So the first thing you should do is a partner team is start surveying new signups. You can do it in the signup form or an email or whatever, and just get a sense. I would do it all the time. Are you signing up? You ask the people signing up, are you signing up for yourself or on behalf of another company? If you're signing off yourself, are you going to implement this yourself, or are you working with another company to implement it? This will help you identify how many people are actually working with a service partner. And you can offer content or onboarding guides specifically to a third party or whatever, like email, like put their email in to email the onboarding guide or invite them in or whatever to start getting getting to know the other people, because that kind of registers them into some kind of partnership flow. And then the other thing you could do as well, if your accounts have multiple users, is check the domains of the users. If they have multiple domains, obviously filter out webmails, but check the domain. If there's multiple company domains in an account, it's very likely to be managed by some contractor, in which case you start reaching out to them and you just ask them, hey, are you a service company who's using this for your clients? And then, we can support you with that. And then you can offer them then partner benefits, which are based around trust, because they sell trust, right? So to their clients, they need to trust you. And it's not about them selling more, like they don't sell your software, they don't care. It's about them getting the support they need in order to drive more value to the clients. So you can show them first, we can put you in front, we can give you a dedicated partner rep, so you can have escalated support. I knew those partner support reps better be on their game, but then they have a direct line to support. Also, you're going to feed them product announcements ahead of time. If you have clients that need partners, you can offer them the reverse referrals, referring them customers. You can put them in the blog. You can promote them with co-marketing because they're always looking for a new clientele. You can also show them case studies of other service companies who've built, retainers or services around your product. This is what other people have been doing. And they're already familiar. These are your shadow channel. They're already familiar with your product. They may not be familiar with how to then turn it into a business line. And you can show them, well, this is the opportunity here. And then you can invite them into some kind of passive community because they don't want to be on the phone with you. So whether it's like a secret partner blog or Slack community or mailing list, this is where we're all communicating. Here, invite them in so it's passive, and then try to get them on a phone call. Those are all very simple tactics. It sounds like a lot, but it's like a progression, like one simple tactic at a time. And then the final thing I would say is a lot of people misunderstand how the partner channel works. Like the pipeline isn't like straight line. I want to be a partner to a sale in like 60 days. That's not how partnerships work. Partners need to trust you. So the pipeline, there's actually two pipelines. There's the first pipeline where the partner is learning about you and learning to trust you. And that will go through some number of weeks, like it'll be done in 60 days. There could be no customers coming from that for 9 months, 18 months, right? Because they will do nothing until a client needs you. Nothing, right? They just learned about you. They understand you. They trust you. They feel comfortable with you. And then when a client needs you, then suddenly things have to happen very, very quickly. And then a new pipeline starts. A second pipeline starts. It's a client activation. So you need a partner activation where they're ready and a client activation pipeline where they're going to sell, bring you into a sales process. So in between, you need to keep them, engaged with you by reminding them you exist, creating value for them, showcasing other partners. So there's a little bit of FOMO, like people are working with us, they're getting more, and prove to them, that it's a two-way partnership between you and your partner ecosystem.
It's all about the timing, right? And I think that's where I see probably the biggest opportunity. And people probably don't spend enough time, but it does take some time, like you said, right, to engage that community, that list of people you have on your network, and trying to keep them ready and on their toes, and maybe push them a little bit, right? And that's giving them some assets or case studies to show, oh, I didn't know I could do it this way, or hey, that maybe I can try this, and something comes out of it. So.
And like I said earlier as well, this is where AppBind fits in. This is why we have activation rates. A lot of the agencies would just buy it if they could, but if you make them bring a client to you, they won't. They can't. That's a huge objection, right? You can't overcome. Yeah. So, this is what AppBind solves. So you should come talk to us. But we would give you an instant way to just put this in front of them. Like, hey, if you just want to get this, use this, and you can make the purchase and done. And you can. That's actually, half the time is the objection. I just don't even know how to bring this into my client projects. I can't control it. So that's a very simple objection to overcome using AppBind.
Cool. Sunir, kind of shifting gears here. I want to go on the personal side and a little bit of the rapid fire questions. So just to understand quickly, for people to understand you, where are you guys in terms of size today? And have you guys raised capital or completely bootstrapped?
Yeah, so we are 3 full-time, 2 engineers and me, and then we have a marketing agency as well. And then I also have the Cloud Software Association, which is its own little team of people, but that's a nonprofit trade association, which is, I don't know, it's like 5 people over there. And then we raised for AppBind. We haven't announced it, but we just raised another 1.1 million seed with the lead investor, FFVC, which is great. And then we raised previously, I guess in total, we raised about $2.5 million to get to where we are. Yeah.
And what's kind of what was your vision when you first started AppBind? Was there an exit plan, and how's it evolved over time? You're saying, okay, where do you want to take this in 5 to 10 years?
Yeah, I want to get rich enough that I can buy my hair back. That's the goal.
That's an expensive goal. I don't know. Or you could do these podcasts, with your dance, highlighting your dance moves, right? And actually get paid for it. Yeah.
I joke. So I used to be at FreshBooks, and Mike is the CEO or chairman now. Who's a founder there. Like I say, I never forget a to do. So I had this to do to set up the partner channel and I got stuck in this quagmire of partner building. It was impossible. We wanted to build something similar to QuickBooks Pro Advisor, which is their accounting channel. We couldn't do it. And so I'm still working on that problem. I just say to them, I'm just slow. So my vision was to solve this problem. I saw the problem from the very beginning. I started off my career in the licensed software channel as a software developer. And when I moved to SaaS, immediately everyone gets stuck in the mud here, and I needed to fix this. And I created the trade association, trying to solve this problem just by bringing people together. And that was not enough. So my vision is, for right now, we're solving it for service companies. There's going to be, there's a bigger problem, which is how do you even build a retail? There's no value chain in SaaS. You can't buy and sell subscriptions through multiple tiers. Really, there are some products doing it, but they've invested $1 billion, like Ingram, in this. It's really expensive. And can we bring that cost like several order of magnitudes down so that more products can go to more people around the world. Our vision is simply to build a market for SaaS distribution. And there needs to be something, and there really isn't. And I think our fundamental idea of what AppBind is, we kind of touched on it, is applicable. It's like, how do you turn a subscription into basically a boxed software? And it's this virtualization of what is a subscription, an email payment method. Authorization is all the contract as well. And we can package all that up and move it around, sell it to one person who can sell it to somebody else and manage all the flows of money and authorization and data. So our vision in the 10-year, as a 10 years of doing this company, presumably is that we've created the rails that subscriptions can actually be sold around the world through partners, through value chains, through app stores, marketplaces, and that needs to happen.
Yeah. I mean, it's the first I've come across something like this. So I love what you're doing, and I definitely see the value with it. Sunir, what's one piece of advice you wish you had known and you would tell your, let's say, 25-year-old self?
Well, it's a really good question. So I've been thinking about that a lot. The pandemic has really made us all sit with ourselves in the basement for very long periods of time. I would say that it's very important to cultivate a center of positivity and love in all your interactions. And when you're in partnerships, everyone is freaking out all the time. This is obviously clients are freaking out all the time. Partnership people are also freaking out all the time. Your CEOs are freaking out all the time. The investors are freaking out all the time. We're all dealing with a lot of risk. And one of the things you learn in partnerships, which is such a great role, is first you think the risk is the other person. And then you play this game of partnership poker where you get all tight-lipped and you like do all these kind of like crazy negotiating moves like you hear from movies, and you're like really antagonistic and you're aggressive. You ask tough questions and you're difficult to work with. You're a porcupine because you have a soft underbelly. You're scared and you're like this jerk towards other people. And you learn as a partnership manager that they're freaking out too. They're the same exact thing. And what you end up learning over time as you become more mature is how to, with a positive and loving stance, acknowledge their own fears and say, you're afraid too. You're afraid that I'm, crazy, and I'm afraid that you're crazy. But it really is the business deal that's high risk. It's just business. And how can we work on it together? And how can I help you as a person? And how can I take care of you as a person? And you'd be surprised how, much, obviously the relationships matter. I mean, I don't know if you'd be surprised or not, but they do, because it's the fear that stops so many valuable deals happening. And it's just what you find is then you change yourself and you learn that you're the biggest risk on the deal. And then when you become a positive and loving person, you suddenly find that, and you cultivate that around you. You suddenly find that they will return that, and then everything kind of changes. You no longer feel like the job is about you having to, the Steve Jobs stories where he stands on the table and asks for an extra penny. Like, that's crazy. Like, you should never do that. Like, you create a negative environment where everyone's trying to crush you. And that's what happened to Apple. They couldn't make the partnership channel work. Microsoft beat the crap out of them with their partnership channel. But now they're very partner oriented, right? And now they're, you end up finding that you can't go it alone. You have to work with partners. And then if you create a loving environment towards other people, people will love you back. And suddenly opportunities come because people care about you and they'll give you to help you out. So that's the most important lesson.
And generally your fear is driven by your ego, right? So it sounds like once you have a little bit more of control of that, you can, drop that guard and, change your vibe around, right?
Yeah, but I want my hair back. That's where my ego went. It just like
it went the same way. Yeah, they went together. Who are one of the best resources? They can be books or people or mentors, people you follow, who you'd say have been the most instrumental to your success over these last few years.
Okay, first, Crossing the Chasm by Jeffrey Moore is the absolute best marketing book by far. It tells you like literally how the structure of the network is. And secondarily, Innovator's Dilemma by Clay Christensen is also very, very good. Those two alone, extremely helpful. Podcasts, I love Noah Kagan and his podcast. He's very honest also about his feelings as a CEO. And I think, he's done very well for himself. So it's worth listening to. And then last, but definitely not least, for me personally, and I think anyone in a similar role, the Cloud Software Association. Like, we put this together because everyone was feeling the same way. Like, I want a partnership with you, but I'm scared of you. It's like, I'm scared of you too. Why don't we just drink together and get to know each other? Oh, we were all scared together. Yes. Can I help you out then? Yeah, absolutely. And it's an amazingly positive and caring organization who we all recognize we're all in the same boat together. And I find that anyone in the CSA, when you're dealing with someone else in the CSA, you immediately know they're going to be, it's going to be a good deal because they're going to have this value set of, we're all scared, but what's the business deal? How can we help each other out? And it's been a very, very transformative to not just me, I hope, but many other thousands of people. So you should join that.
Yeah, definitely. We'll add all those links to our show notes for people to check out the books and the podcast as well as the association. Sunir, what does success mean to you today? Whether that's personally, business, financially, life? There's no right answer.
Joy. I mean, I've been thinking about this. The pandemic has really put a lot of time in my front of me. So I was telling my wife, like, I don't really know, like, what am I striving towards? I achieved all the things I wanted as a child, like as a teenager. I'm married, I have 3 kids, I live in a nice house, in a nice neighborhood, in a nice place. I'm basically an aristocrat, as you are, I'm sure. It's very hard to fail out of tech once you're in it. Like we're going to retire fine, probably, right? You know, unless you do something crazy. So what am I working hard for? And, life is still stressful, but is the stress not a creation of ourselves, our minds? Because we're career-oriented people. Like I don't have to work hard at a startup. I don't have to do any of that stuff. So why am I doing it? First, it's ego. Like I want to have pride that I built something, but I also truly enjoy helping people. That's personally the only thing that matters to me. Like we're all going to die. And so I want to make sure that in my time here that I've helped people and I feel that. And so joy is really my goal for myself and for others. I mean, you could see who's on my wall, Gandhi over here. That was my gift to myself in 2020 because I couldn't stand the pandemic, a reminder of, be the change you want to see in the world. And I think, what's success in life is not being trapped in these kind of material or pugilistic goals, but seeing everyone happier and more joyful around you, even with business,
Exactly. And generally that purpose comes from giving, and that's how you get that joy from external, seeing the joy of giving to others and seeing the impact of what you do versus what you mentioned. Actually, that's the reverse where the ego is, yourself. Like, okay, what can I do for myself? How can I make more money and, accumulate all these assets? So I'm glad you found that shift and you're seeing the other side of success. So great answer. Love it. Sunir, where can founders or agencies or consultants listening in get in touch with you, learn more about you and your startup, AppBind?
Okay. AppBind is appbind.com. So Alpha, Peter, Bravo, India, November, Delta.com, So appbind.com. So if you're an agency trying to figure out how you can take care of clients better without the wasting time or burdening your clients, you can set up the subscriptions yourself, appbind.com. And if you're a SaaS company trying to work through service channel and wondering why activation rates are so low, come talk to us. We can help remove the biggest objection. Like no agency wants a client to talk to you. That's the whole problem. We can solve that problem for you. And then, of course, I'm on LinkedIn, Sunir Shah, easy to find, and cloudsoftwareassociation.com. We do buy drinks when we get to do that again. I think we'll soon. We will be together again. So come join me there.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sunir. It was great chatting with you on SaaS District Show today. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Shaquille. Appreciate it.
Cheers. Thank you all for watching this episode and joining SaaS District today. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for future episodes where we interview top leaders in the SaaS industry. If you're a SaaS company looking to grow and unlock the true value of your business, get in touch with us at Horizon Capital, and myself or one of our consultants will provide a free assessment to help you get there and hit your goals. If you have any feedback or suggestions for this podcast, please comment down below and help us improve our content for you all. Thanks again and see you on the next one.